Hey guys, welcome to World Cinema Reviews. This is your host Frank the Vamp, and I got a really interesting video for you guys today. Well, at least I hope it is. There's something that's been bugging me for a while about a movie that out of a very famous franchise that it's really not liked, and it's after I start. I mean, the how can I say? I mean, it's some people really despise it, and I think unfairly so. I think there's a lot of interesting things that a lot of people haven't seen or haven't really explored as much. And in fact, it's so controversial that it even makes people uncomfortable talking about it. The movie I'm going to talk to you about is Nightmare on Elm Street Part 2. After, in 1984, when we were hit with the success of Nightmare 1, it was incredible. Nightmare 1 was an amazing horror film. The first film where we have this unmasked killer. We didn't have, it wasn't Jason, it wasn't Michael, it was a disfigured, horrible child killer that will hunt your dreams. You were not safe, not even in your dreams. And the moment that you will fall asleep, you will be there to pray for you. I mean, the subject matter, the execution, and the unbelievable acting of Robert Englund made the number one, nightmare number one in our hearts and in our fears. And of course, it will be awesomely natural that we will have a sequel. This sequel, we were not, unfortunately, did not get Wes Craven writing or directing. But we got a sort of different sequel of sorts, to say the least. But a lot of people dump on it. I wanted to talk about it and dissect it in another issue of defending the movie to see if really that's Nightmare 2 deserve all the crap it gets. So Nightmare on Elm Street Part 2 came out on 1985. Freddy's Revenge, that was the title, the complete title. Directed by Jack Shoulder and starring Mark Patton, Kim Myers, and of course the awesome Robert Englund reprising his role as Freddy Krueger. It also stars sort of funny, strange comic relief there from Robert Russler as Ron Grady, and that's going to play a big part in this. So, before we actually start talking about the movie and the plot and everything, I had to say two things. First of all, spoilers. There's going to be some spoilers in this, yes. And so if you haven't seen this one, go watch it, come back, and then and then start watching it from this point on. Another thing that I want to say is that we're going to talk about the elephant in the room, number one. The thing that everybody, only touches on and doesn't want to discuss. We're just flatly going to talk about it, which is, is this movie has some gay undertones, and that's well, okay, let me think about it. All right, so the movie in the first 15 minutes has some partial nudity of the main male character. The main male character wrestles half naked with another man in the ground. They both hit the showers at the same time. There's a shower scene. There is a scene where the main character goes into a gay bar and finds his teacher, who's also gay and probably into S&M, and then he's murdered by being smacked on the butt by towels. I kid you not, naked in the showers, and then there's also a scene where our main character is making out with his girlfriend, and he gets repulsed, doesn't have sex, and instead goes to his best male friend's house, and he asks if he can spend the night. So let me think about it. Yeah, I say hell yeah, it does have some gay undertones. All right, but you know, this is 1985 here, mind you. This definitely turned off a lot of people, and I think it's unfair. I mean, that's it. That's it. Really, I mean, all I care about. I'm a horror fan, right? So all I care about. Does it detract to the film? No. Does it add to the film and make it better? It is intriguing. I'm not sure it does completely, but I think it brings a very interesting aspect of the film into this. So it's kind of weirdly done, but I'm gonna explain to. I'm gonna take that point and move it back. Okay, but let's just discuss. Basically what happened. Some of you can. I'm not. I don't want to turn this into a like a debate or give you quotes of everybody involved and what did everybody say. But what I've been reading and what you can see on the documentary "Never Sleep Again," and you can see is that some people say that there were gay undertones written in it. There's some that they were not, but they were implied. The main actor, Mark Patton is gay. It's openly gay, and that's sort of like what some people say is that it kind of play into it. Like it didn't begin, like the character wasn't written like a gay character, but the film just kind of like in a weird case of serendipity, I guess. I think those were his words too. Don't quote me on that, but someone said that, kind of blind lucks, that it all turned out to be into a perfect storm where it turned to have a lot of homoerotic scenes. But it's something that since I can truly say that it didn't take away from the movie. It just, and it didn't really, and it possibly could have added something to the movie. It's just not openly discussed. So it's something that was implied. Obviously, we can't prove it. We can say 100% who did it or how they did it or how it came out to be. But it actually implies that the main character, it's into a struggle with his own sexuality, and because it is a possession story, it sort of goes into the fact that he's changing. He wants to be something that he's not, and there's something inside of him that it's pushing to come out, and he's being forced by society to repress it. Sort of like the demon Freddy Krueger that's trying to take over his soul. So food for thought. But anyways, let's talk about this very interesting movie, and let's and the gay undertones will keep talking about it as the film is. Just openly talk about it. We have this really interesting beginning where the dream sequence I just love. One of my favorite beginnings to a Freddy Krueger film. In the bus going into the desert. By the way, if you notice in the beginning, you can actually see Robert England driving the bus for a little bit, and then it turns out to be Freddy. So how cool! We actually see the actor without his makeup, acting, and really really cool. And little by little, our main character, it's sitting in the back of the bus, you're seeing everybody leave, and then it all turns weird when the bus just starts inexplicably, speeding up into the desert, where pretty much it takes the characters to hell, into a very cool, well done special effects. By the way, all practical here. There's no. We're back in 1985. There's no CGI. It looks amazing. Still to today's day, I love the effects on this film, which is one of the pauses I want to talk about in a minute. But basically, the movies, pretty much sets off. So Jesse, the character of Jesse and his parents, they all move into this house, which supposedly, I think it was Nancy's house. So it's the Thompson's former home, and basically, he starts having these horrible dreams, and there is some unnatural, weird things, weird phenomena going on besides that, and the father is kind of an idiot, kind of ignores it. Which, by the way, that may also play into the fact that he's just a very ignorant a person that just believes his own things and doesn't listen to his son when he's saying, "Hey, Dad, I need help. I'm having these horrible nightmares," and he kind of like doesn't aid his son. He thinks he's just getting high. He's just very bad. So that's another good tone. That's some undertone there, that the parent is not being responsive to his child. He's not being helpful to his child. So he's got this girl that they go out with, and a girl who, very beautiful, by the way. Kim Myers, that looks, very similar to Meryl Streep. I heard other people mention that. I think Boogeyman Ben in his review mentioned that, and she looks awesome, and she's near nude towards the end of the film, and she's amazing. The great thing is that little by little, Freddy wants to come out into the real world, and he's possessing Jesse's body, and it's really cool. I like that. Some people don't like that he comes out of that dream world and goes into, but it's interesting. I mean, it does. It goes away from the main story. Wanted to make something different, and really terrifying pool scene at the end. Really awesome kills. And let me mention one of the things that I like here is the fact that Freddy, Robert Englund is creepy as hell here. He is very frightening. There's a scene where he goes to the amazing practical effects that he comes out of his body when he's kind of like tearing out away from it. And it's unbelievably greatly done. I prefer, serious, scary Freddy. I like the wisecracks and the welcome to primetime bitch, type of bets as much as anybody, but Robert Englund is full on awesome here. And that's another thing that people don't point about. This is the last film that, because from part 3, Dream Warriors, Dream Master, Freddy's dead and all that stuff. It's all going slowly in a slippery slope. The Dream Child also. Don't get me started. And that's where he goes full cartoonish type. It's no longer. It's too many wisecracks, but in here he's funny, but deep, dark funny. And I like that fact that he would have been like, they should have done the little drops with his sarcasm and his one-liners, but then that's all he became towards the later film. So definitely part 2 is not the best. No, the best by far is part 1, but it's not the worst. Not the worst by far. I think it has interesting visuals, great special effects, awesome kills. Very interesting subject matter. Even with the gay undertones. That it's truly saying that basically really ballsy thing to say in a 1985 movie, that young kids are going through a rough time growing up and struggling with their sexuality, and that's kind of like, and it's a metaphor for Freddy wanting to come out of his body and become a serial killer in the real world, back again, kind of resurrect, and it's really ballsy, really progressive, liberal, pretty, and well acted. I thought Mark Patton did an awesome job. I'm gonna say everybody did. Also, the coming back to the possible pre-budding homosexual relations between Mark Patton and the characters Jesse and Robert Russler's Grady's character. Shows them being confused and acting out. Both of them, I think Grady was being grounded, so he couldn't go to the party because of that he pushed his grandma down the stairs or something. So he's really angry and acting out. It's horrible that he's doing that, but it kind of might reflect the fact that they're both being real repressed with their homosexual thoughts and stuff like that. But anyways, I thought this movie was interesting, and like I said, it's not the best. It does have some flaws. Which we'll talk about, briefly. I would say that I think this would have been good for a part 4 or 5 to depart so much, but I think it offended fans because he went too much. Did a complete 180. It's like it's just really far away from what it was before. This would have been something good, like a change of pace, like in part 4 or 5. But it was too soon on part 2. Another thing that I did not like was the fact that it's some of the things that are done, by the parents and things like that here. They kind of too cliche, like all parents are suck and nobody understands the kids. It's kind of like too after school, especially I thought. But then again, it's 1985, and it's trying to cater to kids, so that's understandable. So I'm just nitpicking, but I just didn't like the fact that they were written so cartoonishly. Like there's no responsible parents or teachers in this world. So overall, I would say that this is a good sequel. It's not by far a bad sequel or even the worst in the series. Not even close. I would say this is, right in the middle of the road. I would probably rank this somewhere in the middle. There's how many is there? 7 or 8 films. Say this is like 3 or 4. My third or fourth favorite. It has interesting visuals, has cool kills. It has one of I really like Robert Englund here. I really like that, and like I said, the gay undertone doesn't bother me. Shouldn't bother anybody really. If anything, it adds a subtext aspect to why Jesse's struggling to come out. Same thing as Freddy trying to come out of his body. But interesting movie, interesting bet. Leave me your thoughts. You see how you like it. You think really was this the worst of the series? If you think so, fine. A lot of people think like you, but tell me why. Don't just tell me it's just because the characters are gay or something. But or if you do, well, tell me. Bend your soul here. We're not judging. So yeah. So that's basically Nightmare on Elm Street Part 2. A lot of interesting subjects, but I just got tired. I had to make this video because I got tired of people just saying, "Oh no, yeah, that sucks." So to be honest, I hadn't watched this movie since I was really young. When it came out, and I was a teenager. And by the way, all those gay things that people mentioned, it went all over my head. I just thought it was funny when the dude was getting smacked in the butt by the towels. I was very juvenile. I didn't think of any gay undertone, but so I missed it entirely in the first run. When I finally watched it again, I was like, okay, yeah, I definitely can't see how this could be interpreted that way. But it's a good movie, good entry for the Freddy collection. A different one, not for everybody, I guess, but interesting as well. Leave me your thoughts, positive or negative. Peace out. See you guys on the next installment.